Hello, my free and powerful friends. We are here together again on day 2 of Sober October. Hey, maybe this morning was the first time in a long time that you've woken up without any lethargy, fatigue, anxiety from nightcaps. Maybe last night was the first night of improved quality sleep that you got. And hey, maybe the first day of Sober October didn't go as planned. Maybe today feels exactly like September and every moment since. So, whatever the case is, I just want to let you know I applaud you for being here. I applaud you for considering and even contemplating Sober October. If you're along for the ride and you already have traction under you, congratulations. If you're becoming more self aware that, wow, not drinking is a lot harder and I had a slip up day one, hey, I want to applaud you too. You are learning, you're self aware. If you weren't committed to change, then you would just feel okay with your decisions to continue drinking. And the fact that maybe you're not feeling good about your behavior with alcohol, it means that you're aware. It means that you are ready to change. It means that you are looking for more. You might not have found it yet, but you're looking for that solution and taking action. So hello. Welcome back. I'm Magnify Maggie. I'm the creator of the Magnify Method. This is alternative sobriety, reconditioning therapy, and it's all about using our mind to think different in order to drink different or never again. So this October sober live stream series is devoted to helping you make those changes and see the ripple effects so that this October is not just the same as any sober October or dry January or dry July that you've done before, where you went 30 days, 31 days, and then you just said, you know what? I'm going back to the old me. I want to help you really create lasting change, whether that's lifelong sobriety or true successful moderation. So what I want to talk about today is something that really pushes the envelope when it comes to traditional sobriety protocols. And that is actually ignoring your sober day count, which kind of goes against the whole idea of sober October, right? The intent is to count your days, is to make it to 30 or 31 days, depending on how many days of the month are in that sober month. I think January is 30. I think July is 31. So when we really look at it, like these months, a little bit of a con in my mind is that you really are just using time as the only successful metric. And like we talked about yesterday, time doesn't heal all. It's what you do with that time. So if we're just counting our days, what are we counting to? What are we counting down to? What do we expect to happen come day 30 or day 100 or day 1000 if we're not actually doing anything different to reperceive ourselves, to change our self-image, to change our self-beliefs about alcohol? Dr. Maxwell Maltz, he said, you do not have a drinking problem, you have a self-image problem. And what I find to be kind of the misstep in traditional sobriety and even in true alcohol moderation is that we just kind of let time pass as we manipulate the external. We avoid alcohol. If we're trying to moderate, we create these boundaries around like only drinking on this type of occasion, only drinking on this type of event, only having this kind of alcohol. You know, we manipulate our external without doing any of the inside work. In short, that means that the external is just kind of prevention and treatment rather than getting to the root cause. And the root cause for our drinking behavior is our beliefs around how to have fun, our beliefs around what to do when we're stressed, our beliefs around our own capabilities. Are we going to be effective or productive? It's our beliefs around celebration. How do we celebrate, and how do we celebrate in between the moments of like birthdays, holidays? Like, what are we doing every day to celebrate life so that we're not just using alcohol as the outlet for celebration? So there's all of these different facets to the inner world that then helps recreate the habits, the behavior, again, that prevention, The prevention to getting drunk is recognizing I'm not the type of person that wants to be drunk anymore. That's a huge step for most people who are using alcohol religiously. They're using it to be drunk. But eventually, the whole goal is, through a sober month or maybe an extended alcohol vacation, like 60, 90 days, you get to the end of that and you say, I don't think I want to be out of control anymore. I really like having control of my life. And that's what I really want to talk about today is it's not about counting the days, but counting those moments during the day where you train your mind and you teach yourself that you are in control, that you do dictate your own results. When I was drinking, I was very much hypnotized to this idea that the world was just happening to me and that I was living based off of luck or lack thereof, lack of luck. That I couldn't really have an impact on my job, that I couldn't really have an impact on my finances, that I was just kind of destined for this mediocre, at best, mediocre failure type life. And so I needed alcohol in order to cope with that. I needed alcohol in order to make my life exciting and to do things that felt like I made the choice and I can control this aspect. And it was like, no, I couldn't control my drinking, but I could definitely control my schedule and be like, yeah, I'm going to drink this day. I can drink this day. I'm going to drink this day. And it was like, that was the only kind of, that was the only satisfaction I got out of life. And it took time away from alcohol to really see that like, hey, I don't like the way I don't control what I put in my mouth. I don't like the way I don't control my money. I don't control where I work, how I work, my attitude towards work. I'm not controlling my results when I'm not paying attention to them or how I can. So throughout this month, I want you to forget the timeline, forget the calendar days, and just say, okay, today I'm not drinking, but what does that mean I am doing? I am going to learn a little bit about what I should be eating. I'm a nutrition coach and learning about nutrition, healing from the inside out, how that affects our hormones, how that affects our sleep, how that affects just our overall mood, our blood sugar levels, which is an impulse control factor, learning about how you can eat better. So your brain starts to learn, hey, I make decisions. And based off of the decisions that I make, that's going to dictate how I feel. Oh, wow. Okay. Now these dots are starting to connect. When I drink, I don't feel good, but when I eat right, I feel good. Okay, cool. Learning how to control movement of your body, getting up every hour to walk, going for a mindset walk, learning how to control your mind when you're faced with a challenge or a hurdle. So instead of counting today's day 2, next week I'll be on day 8, day 10, day 14, and then by the end of October, I'll be 30 days dry. And it's like, when we start to count that way, it can feel like, oh my gosh, it's just stacking up. It's been so long. But honestly, 30 days is not that long. 30 days is not that long. I want to put it into relation of how long you've been drinking, how often you drank, the intensity of which you drank. All of these things are going to affect how good you feel come day 30. And just counting the days is not going to make you feel any better. In fact, what it does to our brain is makes us believe that just time passing heals all, and I don't have to do anything. I'm not responsible for creating any kind of change. But then it also teaches us that we could just find that as the only successful metric and live our life in misery because we're not changing anything. We're just getting satisfaction from the day count. And that's not what I want for anybody. I don't want anybody to be going sober and be their quality of life plummet. That's why counting the days is not something that's super important to me. If I count my days, cool, that kind of makes me feel good. But then if I'm curious and I have a little sip or I want to have a drink, then that puts me right back at day 1. And that feels shameful. That feels very like, oh, well, start over. In the nutrition world, it's like if you have one treat meal or cheat meal, how does that make you feel? If you're not in the right mindset, if you don't have control, a lot of times we'll just be like, well, I ate crappy yesterday. Why should I eat well today? Counting our days actually kind of creates this living in the past ideology of like, okay, well, I did well yesterday, so that's where I'm getting all of my satisfaction from. It doesn't matter what I do today as long as I get through the day, and then tomorrow I'll be able to think about yesterday when I was getting another day under my belt. It's a very funny way that this loophole plays tricks on your mind. And so you're living in the past, especially if there's a slip up, especially if you're curious and you're like, hey, I just want to test it out. Hey, I'm a human being and I want to see how I do with alcohol. And if you're counting your days and not like the lessons, then that gives a lot of power to a slip up. And then you start over, that whole energy, getting back on the wagon. That's not fun. So instead, keep yourself motivated by saying, how am I going to challenge myself today? What am I going to learn today? What am I going to do differently today? In those moments, this is my main challenge to you, is in those moments of feeling like you're tempted, feeling like, hey, I really want a drink, but I can't drink. Instead of telling yourself that, say, okay, what can I do? Don't drink. All right, what should I do? I'm not going to drink. All right, what am I going to do? Because the brain doesn't necessarily understand don't do something. It just understands that you're giving something attention, right? The universe operates by frequency, and thought is energy and it resides on a frequency. And so when your thoughts are constantly locked in on don't drinking, all you're going to attract are more drinking thoughts, maybe shame and guilt affecting you from your history with drinking, maybe fear of the future because of your history with the drinking. Again, living in the past. So when we say don't drink, say, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to look online for a nutrition program. I'm going to start tracking my food in MyFitnessPal. I'm going to take my dog to the park. I'm going to go roller skating. I'm going to go to the skate park. I'm going to go bicycling. There are so many things to occupy yourself with. But I will say in the beginning, you're going to be like, oh, that sounds lame, but you have to give it a try. That's something that I want to remind everybody that's on the Sober October journey. I want to remind you that there's going to be times this month, hopefully as you're not counting the days, but you're counting these moments, there are going to be times this month that feel dull. Your body is regulating your dopamine. Times outside of drinking feel dull, feel a little bit lackluster. But you are going to have some really exciting moments. You're going to have like, oh my gosh, I wake up feeling refreshed. Oh my gosh, my mornings are so peaceful. Oh my gosh, my coffee just hits so much differently when I'm at a healthy baseline. And then I get a boost instead of being way down in the dumps and then getting a boost back to my baseline. Like there's going to be things that are really freaking exciting, but it's also normal for things to feel a little boring. And this is where the aha moments come in. Because think about this, when we're drinking, that's oftentimes the activity, right? And we're kind of sitting around waiting for invites. I remember this post that I made back, it was like 13 years ago on Facebook. And I was like, I'm 9 days sober. And it was on a Friday. I was like, I'm 9 days sober. That does mean, however, that there's nothing to do on a Friday night. And it like looking back at that, it really caused me to see like I, in that drinking identity, was just waiting around for other drinkers to say, hey, this is where we're meeting at. Hey, this is what we're doing this weekend. Hey, be here. If I didn't get those invites, then I said, there's nothing to do. I must be lame. Nobody wants to hang out with me. And so I was really kind of waiting passively for activities to put themselves in front of me, right? I'm waiting for the kids to knock on my door and ask me to come out and play. But when I set alcohol aside, of course, I didn't have those invites or I was ignoring those invites. So I just assumed there was nothing to do. This is the power of being a human being and being a whole ass adult, is that you can do whatever the hell you want. You have a car, you can walk anywhere, you can go to the store, you don't have to spend money. Just go do something. Go to the library. The gym was one of my favorite places on Friday and Saturday nights when I first started. You can create any activity for yourself. So if you're feeling bored and things are feeling dull, say that's okay. This is just my opportunity, my aha moment to create something fun for myself to do right now. Maybe that's going to Hobby Lobby and picking out a little arts and crafts kit, a little sewing kit, a little, I don't know, tie-dye kit. Maybe that's going to Michael's and looking around their craft section. Maybe that's going to Barnes and Noble and just like plopping down. Again, you don't have to buy anything, just plopping down in the book section, sitting in one of the comfy chairs, getting a coffee. Like, figure out the places that sober you would go. And when I say sober, I mean like alcohol-free you, the person who is unfazed by drinking, the person who looks at drinking and goes, ugh, that just doesn't fit my identity anymore. The person who says, I like to spend my time doing things more valuable than just numbing and escaping my life. Over time, I would bet even by the end of this month, you will look back at your behavior pre-sober October and you'll say, man, I was wasting a lot of time just doing the same things day after day, going to the same places, drinking the same drinks, talking about the same things, really just making myself feel more comfortable about staying right where I was. 30 days without alcohol, albeit we're not counting the days, but that time that you have to spend creating all of these aha moments, these lessons, these experiences, these experiments, all of those stacked on top of the next are going to help you see how in control of your life you are and that you are really limitless. When you aren't wasting all of your time and energy and money on drinking as an activity and as an identity, then you have the money, the energy, the time to go after the health goals. You have the optimism, because alcohol literally knocks optimism out of your soul. It blocks your blessings. You're unable to see the good. You're unable to see the exciting things about life, except for in the moment of drinking, which is a few hours, and then followed by days of this dread and fatigue. Without that in your life, you are going to find out that you can run on all cylinders, high speed, turbo function. And you're going to be like, is this really real life? Oh my gosh. So get excited about this. I hope that you have created kind of a list, and maybe that's what we'll do today. Drop in the chat, like, right now, or as this comes back up on the YouTube channel for replay, drop in the chat. What are you going to do for your free time? How are you going to spend your time when you maybe perceive a little bit of boredom or stress? What are you going to do when you perceive stress? How are you going to get that emotion in motion rather than suppressing and drinking and prolonging it? Get these activities in line. So I've mentioned a lot. For stress, I would say something as easy as push-ups in your living room floor, push-ups on your work floor. Like, I remember working at an office and we would get down and do push-ups every hour, and it started kind of a trend and people were more healthy and excited to do push-ups. So push-ups, jump squats, things like that are really physical to get that stress release out. Journaling, get those thoughts out on paper so that you're disconnected, detached from that thought process. Again, go for a walk, do anything outside. Anything outside is great for stress. Look up at the sky. Something happens physiologically when our retinas perceive the vast space of the sky. It helps us detach from our problems and see them as really small. So then we come up with creative solutions. It's very fascinating. Get outside. Look at your gratitudes. When you're stressed out, you're giving attention to what's bothering you, and that's going to create that as a target, and you're going to manifest more of that. So when you're stressed out, count your gratitude. Say, you know what? I can recognize that this is a challenge right now, but I'm so happy and grateful that I have air in my lungs and a beating heart. I'm so happy and grateful for my family. I'm so happy and grateful for my job. I'm so happy and grateful for all of these things. That literally adjusts your frequency so it pulls you out of stress, puts you in a happy, grateful state to where you can see the solution from that elevated standpoint. You're also communicating to the universe that, hey, I'm a happy person and I can solve my problems. So those are things to do when you're stressed. Again, drop some ideas in the chat or questions if you have any. When you're bored, again, Hobby Lobby, Dick's, you can go to Barnes and Noble, an outdoor mall just to get steps. Go roller skating, bicycling. Think about all of those things that you enjoyed doing as a kid. Maybe it was playing an instrument, maybe it was learning a language. All of these things, it can sound lame right now, but once you start to do it, you're going to say like, wow, that's a really fun way to spend my time. And at the end of it, I'm not hungover. I'm not ashamed. I haven't blown a bunch of money. I don't have embarrassment. I don't have guilt. I have a sense of jovial, youthful excitement and enthusiasm and pride that I spent my time that way. Pay attention to how you feel at the ends of these activities versus how you feel at the end of drinking. And these are all going to create aha moments on your map so that at the end of 30 days, you might have actually gotten a year's worth of experiences when most people would just be letting time pass and passively waiting for these things to happen to them. You're going out there, you're creating these experiences for yourself. You're saying, I'm really taking life by the horns in an alcohol-free manner. And that means I'm in control, I'm disciplined. Just take action. I think that's the main thing for today. Take action instead of sitting on your laurels and waiting for time to pass and counting down to the end of October. Remember, I'm here for you. Again, if you can make it to more live streams, I see we have some live joiners now. Feel free to drop things in the chat. I want these to be kind of like hot seat coaching moments. Strategize together. I'll give you ideas. If you've tried this in the past and something that I mentioned didn't work for you, then let's chat. Let's kind of open up the dialogue. Be brave, be courageous. You're already taking a really brave, courageous step just being here. So make sure you let me know if there's anything that you want more info on, strategizing around. There's also the Sober Curious Handbook. I'm going to drop in the chat now for anybody on live. I did copy this into yesterday's live replay chat too. So these are for you guys that are on here live. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already got the Sober Curious Handbook, it's got great worksheets in it. It's got amazing thought logs, nutrition planners, routine planners, a exercise matrix, things of that nature. Resources. It's also got a final page in there about the Magnify course and community. So if you want to invest in yourself and really take it to the next level this month, the Magnify course and community is amazing. It's $197 per month as a monthly membership. There are course modules. There is a community space, weekly trainings. So basically $50 a week. I know I was spending that on alcohol before. So kind of an easy trade from the money that you would have spent on alcohol and moving it over to personal development, change, coaching, a community, relationships with people that are on the same journey as you. So if you are interested, that is the last page in that book. I'm also just going to drop that link here too, just in case, but I will be here. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat after this goes live on the page. Thank you so much. All the World's a Stage. Hello. Thank you for being here. I hope you're feeling good. Remember, guys, I'm here. Reach out on Instagram at Magnify Maggie. I am at email if you want to reach out privately via email. That's magnifymaggieJ@magnifypw.com. Check out the Unsoberly Sober Show. It is my podcast. Something else as a good Sober October resource. There are over 30 episodes already loaded. You can find that on my YouTube page as well as Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I want you to think about any time that you binge this month, binge on something good, binge on something positive, like podcasts, learning, courses, anything like that. Water, protein, all of these things. We can turn our binging behavior into something productive and constructive. So that Unsoberly Sober Show podcast is definitely a good one to binge on. You'll hear a few of my ideas articulated in a more drawn out manner, so more intricate, taking really deep dives into all of these different aspects, my journey, client journeys, the Magnify Method outlook of alternative sobriety. All of that is on the Unsoberly Sober Show, but also here almost daily throughout October. We will be meeting right here for our daily live stream lessons, our live stream series. So thank you so much for joining today. Remember, it all goes down in the mind. Do not count the days. Do not try to manipulate the external. It's all about growing, healing, changing, transforming the inner world, the internal area. So that comes down to your mind, your beliefs, your perspectives on alcohol, and your self-image. So it all goes down in the mind. Remember, you can think different in order to drink different, or never again. I'm Magnify Maggie signing out. Day 2, Sober October. Go get it. Let me know if I can help you in any way.